Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Hospitality. The best day of the week is when you're listening to GMH. But before we get into this episode, I have a quick word from our friends at Cloudbeds. You all know that I started behind the front desk. I was at the Davenport in Spokane, Washington under the Autograph Collection of Marriott. We had over 716 rooms, and I'll tell you, I loved that job. I loved the guests and the rhythm. What I didn't love was the technology, because here's what nobody tells you when you take that job. The tech is supposed to make you better at hospitality, but most of it just gets in the way. Cloudbeds was built on a different idea, that the hotelier is the hero. That technology should free up your ambition and not eat into your morning. One platform, intelligence running through every layer, and hoteliers in 150 plus countries are already on it. If you ever stood behind the front desk and thought there has to be a better way, well, there is. Cloudbeds.com/GMH. All right, now let's get back in the news. If you're trying to drive more direct bookings right now, here's the reality. They don't just magically happen. You have to actually stay in front of your guests. And one tool I've actually been recommending for a very long time is StayFi. What's really cool about them is that they turn your Wi-Fi itself into a data capturing tool. So every time a guest connects, you're collecting contact info, and not just from the one who booked, but from everyone who's staying in the property. And that's a huge unlock because most operators don't even own even a fraction of their guest data. And in a time of AI, data is king. From there, StayFi actually helps you turn that into bookings with automated emails, post-stay follow-ups, and campaigns that bring guests back. I've seen portfolios collect tens of thousands of guest emails and more than double their direct bookings in less than a year with this StayFi feature. And if you don't have time to run all of that, or you prefer to be more hands-off, they now offer managed email marketing services where their team just handles it for you. They've also made their setup way easier with a new hardware option called Aginet, which is up to 40% cheaper than traditional setups. So if you've been thinking about building a real direct booking engine, now is a fantastic time to start. Head to stayfi.com/goodmorninghospitality to learn more and to get 50% off your first 3 months. That's stayfi.com/goodmorninghospitality.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Hello, everybody. Best day of the week. Glad to be back. We had a week filled with World Cup. Brandy getting in the mix with the Scots. Jamie, you want to share some of your experiences?
Oh yeah, we took my oldest son Elliot to the South Africa versus Czech Republic game in Atlanta, noon on a Thursday. Played hooky from work. It was awesome.
You're not supposed to tell people.
What?
You're not supposed to tell people when you're playing hooky.
Oh, no one from work listens. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't love that fact. I feel like we could use some listeners from Air DNA.
No, I had bought tickets off the FIFA resale site. Ended up paying more than I wanted. It ended up being about $300 a ticket, but we got bottom level, row 22. So
Not bad.
Like upper level is going to be like $250 a ticket. I'm like, $50 more ticket. Get down and right near. Ended up seeing so many Atlanta friends at the stadium. And it was definitely and how many fans are traveling from South Africa or Czech Republic for this game? Like it was mostly
not enough, apparently.
Yeah, it was mostly Atlanta people or nearby sort of metros. A lot of people, like a lot of Mexico fans wearing their Mexico jerseys, a lot of U.S. fans wearing their U.S. jerseys.
People just going to see a game.
Everyone going to see a game, and it was the cheapest game in Atlanta. A lot of people bringing their kids. And relate it back to travel, like not a huge inbound travel weekend or day for Atlanta in terms of the games. But I think it being mostly people from Atlanta going to the games sort of makes sense. You can still get a full stadium and not see a whole lot of short-term rental demand from it.
Yeah, makes sense. Michael, how was your weekend? no World Cup action for you.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, Michael.
Yeah, happy
thank
Father's
you.
Day to the both of you.
Thank you. Yeah, Father's Day was lovely. My oldest son was very sweet and just never left my side all day. So it's a fun age there. The other one was raising hell, but he's 2. So yeah, it was a good weekend. Did get to watch a little bit of the games, especially the US one on Friday.
Woo.
Looking good.
That was a good game.
Going to win it all.
Yeah.
How could we not?
Love that confidence.
Well, and Brandy, you were on a boat and then mixing up with the Scottish folk.
Yeah. I had a nice boat day this weekend. And then I did actually get to go downtown, and we didn't go to like the heart of like down Faneuil Hall, if you know Boston, that's like where a lot, like there's like mass congregation, but we were still downtown at like a fun dive bar, and it was a mix of like Germans, some Dutch people, a bunch of Scots, some English people. Like there was just a mix of everybody there for the games. And then it was fun. Last night, we were at my friend's art studio in Dorchester, which has a big Cape Verdean population. And we were walking to dinner from the studio, and you could just hear like horns going off, and people are super pumped. So yeah, it's really, Boston is really embracing all of the different teams that are here, and it's just such a fun vibe. Like I think it's very special like experience to have.
That's awesome. I view myself as a worldly person, but I'd never heard of Cape Verde before. Am I the only one?
I have a friend who's like families from there, so
Wow.
that's been like
Okay.
there's also, I think it's funny. There's a big population here. So it's the first time, right? I think they've ever been in the World Cup. So there's just a lot of pride there, even though, who knows how far they're going to go. But I didn't realize that like almost all the teams make it through this. Like each group sends like 3 teams out of 4 to the next round. I'm like, okay, that's,
it's a little bit less impressive when you make it out of the group stage this year than in years past, with 32 teams making it out, where in past years there's 32 teams starting out. So a little bit less impressive, but
still fun.
It will make the round of 32 game. At least it looks like the US is going to play Bosnia Herzegovina. So hopefully not a tough game in the round of 32.
Never know. All right, Jamie, did you know Cape Verde?
Yes, but only through work stuff. Like, we had to go about like when we load, because we track data for every country, and you like go in and there was a lot of like, all right, what are countries that we're going to recognize and which ones aren't, and all that sort of questions when you've got a sort of global app. But
yes. Certainly the Cinderella team of the Cup.
For sure. Well, before we have we have actual data coming from Jamie, but before we hop into that, want to shout out our sponsor, Cloudbeds. Cloudbeds unifies your operations, distribution, guest experience, and revenue marketing in one place, powered by Signal, hospitality's first foundation AI model. So whether you're trying to drive more direct bookings, cut training time, or finally get your data working for you, Cloudbeds is built for what's next. You can learn more in the show notes or at cloudbeds.com/GMH. So, Jamie, we've been talking for weeks now about what was going to happen when we finally saw the data. How are hotels and short-term rentals feeling now that we're like firmly in the World Cup?
Yeah. So, and I've been following my friends, Jan Freitag and Isaac Colazo on LinkedIn, and they've been posting a lot about it. And this is since STR primarily collects historical data. And they do have some markets where they get forward data. You don't get forward rates. But now that we've got our first week under the belt, we do have some great data on short-term rental performance. And they've been talking about it, Jan in particular, around big events are primarily an ADR event and less so a occupancy event. And this has been the same. So some markets are up, some markets are down in terms of overall occupancy. So if you were just looking at occupancy levels and they're like, oh wow, like, and the World Cup is a bust. There is no one coming to these markets. And then you go and look at the ADRs. It's like, this is incredible. Like, we're getting and massive increases in overall ADRs around the World Cup. So we can put some data behind it now. Bailey's article does sort of outline the gains that we'd seen. And RevPARs were in Mexico City up 133%, Guadalajara up 54% for the South Korea versus game. And like, you then compare that. So that's the first game. And in our data and the short-term rental data, we saw South Korea versus Czechia demand up 33%. Then happened on Friday night was Korea versus Mexico, where demand was up 137%. So in on the hotel,
the highlights of that one were awesome too. If anybody saw any videos or reels, that was a gem.
Right. So the hotels are getting the ADRs, so they're getting significant ADR growth. It's going to be mixed on occupancy, but overall, it has pushed overall U.S. hotels, Canadian hotels, Mexico hotels up to pretty strong gains for the week, and that should continue through the finals in July.
Jamie, in this article, there's a quote that says, demand is very spiky around the days of the games. I don't know who to attribute it to. It was Jamie, for the listeners. It was Jamie. There was some hope that people be coming and staying for the week, but right now, clearly, people are coming the day before, staying for the game and heading out. That makes a ton of sense if they're Americans heading into the town, or they live here and they want to go see their home country play. Now, why are we not seeing the data of this pool of Scottish folks that are coming and staying for the whole month?
I mean, they've been
right?
here. They have been here pretty consistently.
What are we missing? Is it just not enough volume?
No, volume is an issue. Also, different markets are seeing different increases. So, for example, Boston, the days of and before the Scotland-Haiti game, occupancy in Boston was up 11%. So that's incredible. Like, that's very strong for Boston, a pretty large short-term rental market. But then 2 days afterwards, where there was no game, occupancy was now down 2%. And even the next game, I forget who played in Boston after that, but
it was Norway.
Yeah, occupancy was essentially flat. And so certain traveling groups are driving increases. And the other great example is what we're seeing playing out in Kansas City. So when Argentina and Algeria played, occupancy was up 9%. And in Kansas City is one of those markets, and we saw seeing almost a 60% increase in overall inventory on the short-term rental side. So on those days when Messi isn't playing, occupancy in Kansas City is down 30% year over year. So we are seeing sustained higher demand. Like non-game days, it's still up 20% versus last year. And on game days, it's up over 70%. But we're not seeing enough sustained demand to pull occupancy above. But ADRs in Kansas City around the Messi game were up 107%. That is incredible, and that's the reason why many hosts added their listings into that market. And then
not everybody can be Freddie, right? They traveling around in their van or their rental car, getting offered private jet to the next stop, but declining them because they just want to drive and see the country.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that I think will be interesting, I don't know how you're doing the data, but because Boston and Providence are so close in Rhode Island, and as Providence is actually much closer to Gillette. Like that is, if you group all of that together, I wonder what the data would show you, because Providence has definitely seen like a huge uptick. I'd be very confident in that guess.
Yeah, we've been tracking Providence separately. So I've got the data in front of me.
So
for
fast,
Boston,
always so impressive.
I did prepare beforehand. So I mentioned how Boston occupancy was up 11% for the Haiti Morocco game. You think Providence was stronger or weaker than in Boston?
For Haiti Morocco, I might say weaker.
Stronger because the Scots are just chilling there for the week, right?
It was almost exactly the same. It was up 10%. ADRs were up, not as strong. They're up 14% compared to 28% in Boston. So people willing to pay up to be in downtown Boston as opposed to Providence, but definitely a demand spike playing out in Providence, just like we're seeing in Boston.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Good news for the hometown.
Yeah, but even in Atlanta, like the game I was at, and midweek occupancy and two sort of, and I wouldn't say no-name teams, but lesser and sort of popularity teams, occupancy was down. But then when you had Spain playing versus Cabo Verde, and it was essentially flat and much stronger ADR growth. So I think this is any indication from the first week, that when you do have the big teams playing, there's people traveling in, there's really strong occupancy and ADR gains. And I think that bodes really well for once we get to the knockout stage. Because once we get to the knockout stage, and you're going to have top teams playing in essentially every game, you're going to have big fan bases. And then as you get later and later, and it's going to sort of compound. And I think you see Messi level demand increases and more as opposed to this sort of mix of, is it just locals going to see the game because it's cheap versus all the inbound international travelers. Like the Spanish here this weekend for the it was yesterday, the Spain Saudi Arabia game, and it was packed around town.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to our next topic, we have a really great question from the live audience. DFX Productions, coming to us from YouTube, asked, will there be a World Cup aftershock of world travelers to North America from all the influencer videos showing us in a positive light? So, are people now going to start booking late summer travel back to the US? What do you think?
I'll use my gut first, and then Jamie can come in with data.
Yeah.
It depends on which algorithm you're being fed. How about that? Some people are going to be fed the doom and gloom, and others are going to be fed the wonderful positive stories that are coming out of it. So I hope it can crack some of the grip on America's bad and don't come here. But I think that might take a little more time.
Yeah. Jamie, what do you think?
I think Freddie should be our new mascot.
Brand USA, baby.
Yeah, Brand USA should be paying him for future content that we can get more and more influencers like Freddie spreading the good word. I think if there's any indication on what great marketing can do, and to get Brand USA fully funded, and you could sort of point to Freddie, and the more that and organizations like US Travel can do to promote that sort of stuff is all the better. So, but is it gonna? I think it is gonna. We're gonna see a halo effect, and the halo effects of things like and TV shows when they like
White Lotus.
Yeah. And where you see subsequent travel. So like, and who knows what content Freddie's going to be creating, and sort of, and the next viral destination that Freddie just falls in love with, that now for the next 5 years, and you've got hordes of US travel or European travelers going to see. Like it could make or break destinations over
Auburn
the
football,
next 5
baby.
years. Yeah.
But great question. We'll have to see. I also think like summer travel has already mostly been booked, so maybe there might be a longer tailwind, but we'll see. Hopefully,
I don't know, Brandy. We've got the entire month of August coming up.
That's true.
There's an
Also,
entire
I have
continent of people that are may or may not have planned already.
That's true. Very true. But before we move on, quick shout out to our sponsor, Built. They're helping restaurants and hotel F&B teams better understand their guests and create a more personalized experience that drives repeat visits. So if you care about loyalty and guest experience, it's definitely worth checking out. Head to joinbuilt.com/GMH, and you can also find that link in the show notes.
Millions of people use Built every day to earn rewards on housing and in their neighborhoods. Now it extends to your restaurant. Built Hospitality shapes how guests are recognized and taken care of. Built's restaurant-facing platform is designed specifically for dining operators to drive loyalty with their guests. It combines reservations, guest preferences, VIP management, and payments into one platform, alongside an agentic concierge that thoughtfully designs and executes the experience around your guests' tastes. When a guest walks in, your team already knows what they like without digging through notes. Built Hospitality works across the entire guest journey, from delivering a complimentary course at the right moment to sending a personalized offer that brings them right back. Make every guest feel like a regular and keep them coming back. Built Hospitality is available now for hotels with restaurants and restaurant groups everywhere. Learn more at builtdining.com/GMH. That's built, BILTDINING.com/GMH.
Yeah. Let me make one more comment because Paul Mazy's one was insightful. So based on length of stay between games, we're seeing people extending their stays to more destination markets. We're absolutely seeing that. He's saying he's seeing a lot of European bookings in Hawaii in between matches. We're seeing strong demand in markets like Nashville, Austin, Denver. So more destination level markets that are nearby some of the. So if you don't want to stay for a week in Atlanta, maybe you stay 2 days and then pop up to Nashville, pop down to New Orleans. We're seeing really strong demand in some of the destination markets that can support all these guests, and that there are more destinations that people might want to travel to, as opposed to no shade throwing to Houston or Dallas, but that might not be a market you want to stay in for a week and go visit other places in between games.
Well, just in case you've made a lot of bookings and want to cancel them last minute, hopefully you've done that on Airbnb.
And only as of last week.
So. And as of last week. In a headline that's sure to enrage so many people in our industry, Airbnb is moving into kind of like a Hopper fintech play with cancel for any reason feature. And this strikes a nerve with a lot of people, but you put down your pitchforks. It's not necessarily as bad as you think it is.
Wait. No Brandy rant? Let's hear it.
No, I'm not. I'm not going off in a rage right now. I think that
Ryan, are you listening now?
Ryan, see? No, but I think that offering a cancel for any reason feature makes a lot of, we have the buy now, pay later. It's just all these features that make a lot of sense for them to do. And for a host right now, whatever the difference between your cancellation policy is and them canceling, the Airbnb is paying out. You are not paying that out. So your cancellation policy still holds.
Do we think Hopper's powering this?
They have not said who's powering it. I was looking at Hopper's HTS solutions. I was like, in the visuals, could Hopper be powering this? Wouldn't that be a fun?
They didn't say who's powering it, but they did say that it's not Airbnb powering it, right?
Yeah.
It's a third party.
They said it was a third party. Yeah.
So either an opportunistic group has stood up, or Hopper with millions and millions of data points has taken care of it. So my guess would be Hopper, but I know Will is screaming in the background.
Yeah, he's raging behind the scenes right now.
But can I just speak a little bit on the strategy here? Because there's been this, I think, disconnect between what Airbnb really wants is everyone to have really lenient cancellation policies, because they do see that, and they've got to have great research on how much more likely someone is to book if they have more flexible cancellation policies versus strict ones, because this has been a big initiative one, of getting rid of the stricter cancellation policies, and then two, sort of creating a bridge of making it less of a commitment to get a booking or put down a booking. So hopefully, and I bet what they see is this does help convert hesitant guests of, oh, I'm not totally sure, but I could pay an extra $50-$100 and then be able to cancel for any reason. Like, and that helps convert people. And then even those listings that do have really strict cancellation policies, this does give you a way around it. And if you're willing to pay for it, and who knows if this will get used enough to actually create a new and revenue line for Airbnb. But they have said that, and at least with the reserve now, pay later, like this has created a more increase in revenue because of more people booking further in advance and be able to book higher ADR properties. And like, I see it as a great thing, and very, very little sort of guest downside or host downside from it. I have heard people sort of complain some about sort of issues with cleaners, and you have a cleaner ready to go, and then you get a last minute cancellation, and that sort of burns trust with that cleaner and them being able to plan in advance and things like that.
Well, I think the other part is that if you have a flexible cancellation policy already, like if you're only going to get 50% of that revenue, and then someone cancels last minute and it's a bigger home and they cancel, 2 days beforehand, that's a much harder home to fill. So they're definitely, that's kind of I think the downside there for hosts. I don't think, however, that this is going to cause like a wave of people canceling last minute. I just don't see that happening, but
but if you're a mega home, then 1 or 2 bookings canceling last minute can be heavily
huge for
right?
sure. Yeah.
So this, from a consumer side, this solves Jamie's conundrum of the property we always like to stay in at the same beach every year is booked. I'm just going to go ahead and book it. I'll pay the fee in case we change weeks or anything. And for $150, totally fine. But yeah, this could hurt, the Aspen homes on New Year's week.
Hey, Shh.
Sorry, B. Sorry. Brandy rent.
No. I mean, it's just, I understand. I mean, there's been like a knee-jerk reaction that I've been hearing where just like there's just, with the bigger homes, the companies that operate these bigger homes, Airbnb is just never the platform of choice because of all of these policies like this. And this doesn't do, I think, enough to improve the relationship with those companies. It's just another, kind of another slap. But even if it's a little, I don't think it's going to be as dramatic. It's just one more data point against Airbnb for some of those operators. But I guess we'll have to wait and see once this rolls out. So we have two points. I can't
wait to hear a Brandy rant 6 months from now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll store it up. It'll just burn inside of me for a little bit. Well, and so yeah, we have to see, like, does this cause a wave of last minute cancellations? And then also who's actually, supporting this on the back end.
I'll say I tried to find some booking. I tried like 30 this morning to see if I could find an offer to be able to do the extend cancellation. I couldn't find any of them. So maybe it's something they're rolling out. Maybe I'm not eligible as a guest yet. But excited to see how they're pricing it, because
they've blocked the 3 of our accounts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you have some of these Airbnb guests that don't cancel last minute and do stay at your property, and you want to get their actual contact information, you should use StayFi. They're our third sponsor for the episode. StayFi helps short-term rental operators build direct guest relationships through branded Wi-Fi portals, email marketing, and guest data tools that turn one-time bookers into repeat guests. Start growing your direct booking revenue today at stayfi.com/goodmorninghospitality, or find that link in the show notes. So our third topic for today is American Express spending a big chunk of change, $700 million, on the fork, which is basically the Resi or the open table of Europe.
They're the StayFi of restaurants reservation data. The Fork is the Resi of Europe. They're huge. They're the incumbent, and they obviously have a lot of data. And now this creates a better in for Amex in Europe, who's been one of the laggards versus Visa or MasterCard. So, I wouldn't say any of us on this show are experts on that. I think it's more interesting for us on what it means for TripAdvisor.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, any takes before you jump into what it means for TripAdvisor?
No.
So what does it mean for TripAdvisor?
Yeah, I think we've talked about it explicitly on this podcast. So like Viator is killing it on the experiences side. The core TripAdvisor product has definitely seen some weakness, and it feels like more and more pushed out. And as people look to AI and other sources for what to do while they're on trips, I'm a millennial. I remember the days like everything I planned was centered around TripAdvisor and what were the top 10 activities and what were the reviews and like, I can't remember the last time I went to TripAdvisor to help plan my trip or even left a review on TripAdvisor. Like the engagement has just gone down significantly. So I think, and the article calls out how they haven't talked and they've said they're not exploring the sale of Viator. So is this company just Viator and maybe they sell off the remnants of TripAdvisor? And do they spin out or sell Viator, spin it out as its own product or its own company and get the proceeds from that? I think the M&A aspect of this company is way more interesting on how they're innovating on any one product right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think TripAdvisor had such a great brand, but this just shows you that you can have a great brand and be the go-to for a long time. And then all of a sudden the market changes and you're left in the wind.
Yeah, you're falling asleep at the wheel a little bit.
Good thing they had the Fork and Viator. At this point, a year ago, I would have said they're going to sell Viator. At this point, I think they're probably more likely to keep Viator and sell TripAdvisor.
And if they think they can grow it, if they've got the management team to lead it, and they can invest in it,
it's the better asset. So
yeah,
maybe it's better to sell, maybe it's better to keep, but I'm sure those are some fiery discussions at the board.
Yeah, the investors don't seem to be too thrilled about that notion, to put it mildly.
Wonderful. Well, besides the U.S. game on Thursday, which is kind of inconsequential because we've already clinched number one, any travels coming up? Brandy, staying at home?
I'm staying at home. I have a friend staying with me this week and then another friend's coming in for the weekend. And we're doing some like New England coastal adventures. So that'll be fun.
You're cheating this I'm not traveling by having other people travel to you.
Exactly.
I'm on you, Brandy.
Yeah, this is the best time to be in Boston and New England. It's like summer is just so beautiful. So come to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jamie?
This is my last week at the office before I head out on my July adventure. Did I mention I'm taking sabbatical for July?
You're going to Maine, right? And then Iceland, or Iceland?
We're going to Iceland and then Maine. Yeah, so I'll be in and out on the podcast, but definitely out while we're in Iceland. Might pop in for a Monday while we're in Maine or back in Atlanta. Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take pictures.
Yeah. How about you, Michael? Any fun plans?
Let's see. This week, nope. Same old. I'll be here. No July off. No sabbatical. Yeah. Got a trip to Sarasota, which I'll see you at, Brandy.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Jamie's too busy traveling, but otherwise, grinding away, working for the man.
Well, thanks to all of our live viewers. Really great engagement. Love getting questions in real time and having Jamie pull our data. So in July, be patient with us if we can't pull our data in real time. But thanks again to our sponsors and for all of those that are listening in the download later on. And we will see all of you next Monday.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Hospitality. The best day of the week is when you're listening to GMH. But before we get into this episode, I have a quick word from our friends at Cloudbeds. You all know that I started behind the front desk. I was at the Davenport in Spokane, Washington under the Autograph Collection of Marriott. We had over 716 rooms, and I'll tell you, I loved that job. I loved the guests and the rhythm. What I didn't love was the technology, because here's what nobody tells you when you take that job. The tech is supposed to make you better at hospitality, but most of it just gets in the way. Cloudbeds was built on a different idea, that the hotelier is the hero. That technology should free up your ambition and not eat into your morning. One platform, intelligence running through every layer, and hoteliers in 150 plus countries are already on it. If you ever stood behind the front desk and thought there has to be a better way, well, there is. Cloudbeds.com/GMH. All right, now let's get back in the news. If you're trying to drive more direct bookings right now, here's the reality. They don't just magically happen. You have to actually stay in front of your guests. And one tool I've actually been recommending for a very long time is StayFi. What's really cool about them is that they turn your Wi-Fi itself into a data capturing tool. So every time a guest connects, you're collecting contact info, and not just from the one who booked, but from everyone who's staying in the property. And that's a huge unlock because most operators don't even own even a fraction of their guest data. And in a time of AI, data is king. From there, StayFi actually helps you turn that into bookings with automated emails, post-stay follow-ups, and campaigns that bring guests back. I've seen portfolios collect tens of thousands of guest emails and more than double their direct bookings in less than a year with this StayFi feature. And if you don't have time to run all of that, or you prefer to be more hands-off, they now offer managed email marketing services where their team just handles it for you. They've also made their setup way easier with a new hardware option called Aginet, which is up to 40% cheaper than traditional setups. So if you've been thinking about building a real direct booking engine, now is a fantastic time to start. Head to stayfi.com/goodmorninghospitality to learn more and to get 50% off your first 3 months. That's stayfi.com/goodmorninghospitality.